2016 offseason saw one of, if not the most controversial decisions in NBA history. We watched Kevin Durant lose 3-1 by blowing a 3-1 lead, I should say, to the Golden State Warriors, who went on to blow a 3-1 lead to the Cavaliers in the finals. But we also witnessed Kevin Durant joining the Warriors immediately after that. Now, I am going to see today what would have happened if Kevin Durant had re signed with the Thunder and if he had stayed in Oklahoma City? Now, obviously, we're beginning in the 2015 season. Before he left, I went ahead, signed him on for 2 more years and a player option. Russell Westbrook is locked up for the same amount of time. This roster, pretty much everybody's under contract. Enes Kanter's under contract for a while. You've got Serge Ibaka for 2 years. You've got Steven Adams, a young Steven Adams, Anthony Morrow, Nick Collison. And I'm not going to have any say in what happens to this roster. Pretty much, I am just here to act as a simulation controller, and we're going to see what would have happened, whether they'll do better or whether they'll do worse with Kevin Durant. Obviously, you would assume they'll do better because Kevin Durant's a little bit better than Victor Oladipo and Domantas Sabonis, which is who they had in real life the next year. But we'll have to see how this ends up. Now, let's take a quick gander at the rest of the league. Obviously, some nostalgia here. You've got a second-year Andrew Wiggins freshly off a trade and a rookie season from the Cavaliers. Karl-Anthony Towns coming into his first year at the first overall pick for the Timberwolves. They've got Kmart as well, Ricky Rubio, Kevin Garnett at 39, Shabazz Muhammad, who actually had a few decent years there. Zach LaVine at just 20 years old and I believe a rookie. Yep, he is a young guy. The Timberwolves have a good roster, but not a lot of experience. The Trailblazers, not very good at all. Dame Dollar, obviously, he's good, but everybody else still. CJ McCollum, not really at his peak yet, obviously. Steph Curry leading the Warriors. Klay Thompson, Draymond, Harrison Barnes. This is the team that would go on to go 73-9. So, crazy to think about. You've got John Wall, Bradley Beal for the Wizards with Gortat and Nene. That was an interesting duo or trio there. And then at the 76ers, they're rebuilding. They're in the trusted process era. Tony Roten is here. I forgot about him. The Bucks have Greg Monroe, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Chris Middleton, Michael Carter-Williams. Then the Bulls, you've got Paul Gasol, Jimmy Butler, Derrick Rose, Joakim Noah, Nikola Mirotic, and a couple other good pieces like Taj Gibson. These were one of the funnest Bulls teams, in my opinion, those years where they took the Cavs to the limit. Speaking of the Cavs, this is going to be year 2 of the Cleveland Cavaliers experiment, and they've got LeBron on a expiring deal. We'll see if he re-signs back there. Kevin Love. Then you've got Kyrie Irving, who right now is injured for 6 to 8 weeks. Celtics have IT. This team is just pretty bad. I mean, this was before they really made a playoff run. Yeah, this is a really bad team. The Clippers are still with their Lob City core. Jamal Crawford's still here. The Grizzlies have their grit and grind type trio. Mark Gasol, Mike Conley, Zach Randolph, Tony Allen is there as well with Jeff Green. Courtney Lee, that's a name I haven't heard in a while. A guy that could shoot lights out until the Knicks signed him to a big contract. The Hawks have their core of Paul Millsap, Jeff Teague, Al Horford, and Kyle Korver. Then you've got the Heat trying to recover from LeBron leaving still. Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, Hassan Whiteside, and Goran Dragic is there as well. The Hornets have Al Jefferson, Kemba Walker, Nicholas Batum, Jeremy Lin down here. That was a fun Hornets team. Gordon Hayward still with the Jazz. This is 2 years before he left for Boston, so we're going to see what happens with him in Utah as they have their trio core there. The Kings are pretty bad. They've got Boogie, they've got Rudy Gay, and they've got Darren Collison. That's about it. They've got the Knicks have Carmelo, a rookie. Kristaps Porzingis after getting selected 4th overall, and then Robin Lopez is there as well as their 4th best player. The Knicks do not look very good at all. I would not expect them to do much, even if Carmelo Anthony does really well. The Lakers have a old Kobe Bryant, Lou Will, D'Angelo Russell, who looks a lot like Deontay Taylor, but that's a different story. Orlando Magic have Vooch. They've got Victor Oladipo, Tobias Harris, Mario Hezonja, Alfred Payton, and Aaron Gordon. This is a young team, but in real life, they didn't really pan out. We'll have to see how they pan out in this reality. The Mavericks are going to be rebuilding pretty soon. They've got an old roster: Dirk Nowitzki, Wes Matthews, Chandler Parsons. After getting that massive contract around Darren Williams, this team is old, not very good. The Nets, Brooke Lopez. This is after they're trying to recover still from trading all those picks for Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce, who actually aren't even on the roster anymore. This was the year they had Andrea Bargnani. That's how you know how bad they were. Donald Sloan is a name I haven't heard in a while either. The Nuggets have Kenneth Faried, the Manimal, Danilo Gallinari, a rookie. Emmanuel Mudiay, we'll have to see how he pans out. Randy Ford, J.J. Hickson is a name that I haven't heard in years. The Pacers still have their core of Paul George, Monte Ellis, George Hill, Rodney Stuckey, who I think is more of a shooting guard, but they've got him as a point guard here. Jordan Hill, Ian Mahimi, Solomon Hill, Lavoy Allen, and C.J. Miles. The Pelicans have Anthony Davis, Eric Gordon, Drew Holiday, Ryan Anderson, and Tyreek Evans is way down here. He's actually right around 80 overall. This was a fun team that never really panned out, so we'll have to see if this core of players actually will work out in this simulation. The Pistons have Andre Drummond, Reggie Jackson, Jody Meeks, Ersan Ilyasova, and a rookie Stanley Johnson. We'll have to see how he does. The Raptors have their core of Lowry, DeRozan, Valanciunas, Carroll, and James Johnson. Now as the Rockets have James Harden, Dwight Howard, Ty Lawson, Trevor Ariza, Pat Bev as a younger backup guard there. And then the Spurs, this was the year that they brought in LaMarcus Aldridge. They've got Tim Duncan still. They've got Kawhi Leonard, Tony Parker, and Manu Ginobili there, as well as Danny Green. That's a good team still. So they won 67 games this season in real life. So do not count them out. Eric Bledsoe is here for the Phoenix Suns. Then you've got Brandon Knight. You've got Markieff Morris, Tyson Chandler, PJ Tucker, Alex Lynn, and Devin Booker as well. Then on the Thunder, obviously we've looked at this roster. So we're going to have to see exactly how good the Thunder are going to do. Obviously this season they would have had Kevin Durant anyway, so it doesn't really count. But we're just going to see if life will imitate what happens, or if this simulation will imitate what happened in real life. And we are going to take this step by step. I will first simulate through the trade deadline. I'm just going to see if any big moves happen. If nothing major happens, I'll stop, show you guys the standings, show you guys the statistics, and we'll move on from there. Nothing major happened in the trade deadline period. Not a lot of big trades happened. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at this standings. And man, oh man, the Thunder are clicking. 44-13 on the year so far. They're followed up by the Grizzlies, who are 6 games back. The Warriors in real life go 73-9. In this reality, maybe not so much. No injuries, no major injuries at least. Andre Iguodala is out though, so that's a pretty big one, I guess. The Warriors, though, 33-22. Here's the rest of the Western Conference standings. The Eastern side of things, is it more competitive? Not really. The Cavs dominating. They are 41-14. The Celtics, not a great roster, but they're producing good stats here at 37-21, 5.5 games back. In the Miami Heat, still without LeBron and with a rookie Justice Winslow, this team is producing. This was really the breakout year of Hassan Whiteside as well. So Chris Bosh has been moved to the bench in order for Hassan Whiteside to start. The Hawks are unsurprisingly good. The Bucks are pretty decent. This is a interesting standings here. I don't know. Let me check and see something. I want to see if the coaches are accurate, and they are unfortunately not accurate. I don't think. Yeah, the coaches are not accurate at all, so that's unfortunate. But it's still a fun thing to see the accurate rosters. Here's the stats per game. The leaders in the league. Points per game goes to Steph Curry. Or no, actually, points per game goes to Damian Lillard. For some reason, Steph was shown over him. Then Steph and then Isaiah Thomas averaging 27. Rebounds per game is going to go to 15 for Anthony Davis. 14.8, basically 15 for Boogie Cousins, and about 15 for Blake Griffin if you round up all of those. Assists, Chris Paul with about 11. Westbrook with about 11, Lowry with 9, and Mike Conley with 9 steals. You've got Kawhi Leonard, the Claw, with 2.2 steals as well. Chris Paul with 2 steals, and Paul George with 1.9, basically 2. Serge Ibaka leading the country, the entire association with 2.5 blocks a game. Marc Gasol right behind him at 2.4. Then you got Gobert at 2.3, and a couple of guys tied with him there. Let's see how this roster is doing for the Thunder, though, overall. Their points per game averages. Kevin Durant leading the way, 25 points per game, 7 rebounds, 3.8 assists, 1 steal, and about 1 block. He's shooting 50, 40, and 87, almost 50, 40, 90 from the field. Westbrook averaging 19, 3.8 rebounds, and 10.5 assists with almost 1.5 steals a game. Inez Cantor averaging 10.9, 1 assist, 10.9 rebounds, 18.8 points. That's crazy. Inez Cantor was never quite that good. Dion Waiters coming off the bench, averaging a solid 12 points per game. And that's pretty much the rest of the roster. Ibaka has 8, 10, and 2.5 blocks. Obviously, we showed that. Steven Adams, a pretty good rookie year, too. Or not a rookie year for Steven Adams, I don't think. Third year guy now, out of New Zealand. Obviously, played college basketball, though. But let's go ahead and see how this first season ends. I do know, like I've prefaced, this isn't exactly new territory. Kevin Durant was on the Thunder this year, but I wanted to start the season before just to see if the Warriors would still blow a 3-1 lead, if the Thunder would still blow a 3-1 lead, see what happens as far as the playoffs go. But let's get into the final end of this season. And they always say that art imitates life, and just like that, Steph Curry wins a unanimous MVP, 29 points per game. You can basically say 30. 4 rebounds, 8 assists, 1.5 steals, and shot 50, 40, basically almost 50, 50, 90 there from the field and from three-point land. D'Angelo Russell, also known as Keontae Taylor, wins Rookie of the Year, 16 points per game, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 1.7 steals, almost a block a game, and he shot pretty well, 43% from the field, 76 from free throw. And a bad from three-point land, 33%, but that's expected for most rookies. Dennis Schroeder wins 6th Man of the Year, averaging almost 20, 5 assists, a steal a game. Anthony Davis wins DPOY with 1 steal and 2 blocks a game. Hollis Thompson wins Most Improved for the 76ers there. Scott Brooks wins Coach of the Year for the Thunder as they won 61 games this season. And then Executive of the Year goes to Nicholas Brown, who also with the Cavaliers won 61 games. So both of those teams are pretty close to each other. Here are the All-NBA teams: Steph Curry, John Wall, Blake Griffin, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. The second team, you've got Dame Dalla, Russell Westbrook, Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Durant, and DeMarcus Cousins. And I just saw Kevin Durant, broken left leg. He's going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks. That is a disappointing thing to see, because he's going to miss the entire playoffs. So Thunder are not likely to win it this year. Jimmy Butler, Isaiah Thomas, Giannis Antetokounmpo, just 22 years old in his third season, makes All-NBA third team. Paul George and Nikola Vucevic. Then all defensive first team, we've got Jimmy Buckets, John Wall, Serge Ibaka, Draymond Green, and Anthony Davis there as well. All defensive second team, you've got Dwayne Wade, Eric Bledsoe, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and Dwight Howard, all rookies. You've got D'Lo, Jahlil Okafor, Cat, Kristaps, and Emmanuel Mudiay. And then the second team, you got Willie Cauley-Stein, Justice Winslow, Raul Neto. That's not a rookie, I don't think. I mean, he's played, not really a rookie, I wouldn't say. But Miles Turner and Devin Booker there as well. So let's see what happens in the playoffs here. If you want to see the final statistics on the league leaders, here are those final stats. Steph and Dame still battling that. Dame gets the win there in points per game. AD wins in rebounds per game. Assists per game goes to Chris Paul. Steals, Kawhi Leonard still, and blocks goes to Rudy Gobert, who actually jumps over DeAndre Jordan and Serge Ibaka. But the Thunder are going to start the playoffs in year one without Kevin Durant. They've got Kyle Singler. Oh, man. I remember Kyle Singler just being so terrible, but they're going to be taking on the Utah Jazz, who do have a pretty good unit. They've got Dante Exum, who still could be good in this reality, and honestly, in real life, who has come back to life. I mean, this guy was out of the league, and now he's back and better than ever. Then you've got Alec Burks, Gordon Hayward, Derek Favors, and Rudy Gobert. So let's see how the Thunder are going to get through this one. They're going to take a 1-0 lead. I'm assuming Westbrook's doing a lot of this. DJ Augustine for the Thunder dropping 24. Westbrook had a bad game, and they still won 110-84. They are going to now take a 1-1 series. Now the Jazz tie it up again. Westbrook plays better, but they lose by 20. I just don't know if they're going to have enough firepower without Kevin Durant. Lose by 7 that time. to the Jazz, and the Jazz go up 3-1. I think this is an easy series win if they have Kevin Durant. Trey Burke is here as well. He's still trying to get around in this league, but the Thunder, you can't really rely on Russell Westbrook, in my opinion, to be on DJ Augustine to be your number one scorer. But they do win that one. They make it at least a game 6 as they blow them out by about 24. And yeah, they get eliminated in the first round. Kind of saw that coming. We're going to have to see if they can bounce back with Kevin Durant. Let's see if they make any moves in the offseason. The Suns are going to win the championship. What the world? Brandon Knight wins finals MVP with 26 points per game, 2 rebounds, and about 6 assists, shooting 50, 85, and 40. Don't know how that happened. They do have Devin Booker, obviously, and Eric Bledsoe, but I was not really expecting a Phoenix Suns championship here. That's an interesting one to see. As far as retirements go, you've got Steve Nash apparently was on the Lakers still. Evan Garnett. Paul Pierce is going to call it quits at 38. Vince Carter calls it quits a little earlier than in real life. Jason Terry calls it quits. Andre Miller is going to retire. A bunch of big names, but nobody that's like actively winning for a team. I guess you could actually say, though, Manu Ginobili is a pretty big winner there for the Spurs. So that's a big time retirement for the Spurs. The Thunder are going to lose Nick Collison, the longtime Sonic and Oklahoma City Thunder native. And the Hall of Fame inductees, Paul Pierce, Steve Nash goes into the Hall of Fame, and Kevin Garnett jersey retirements. Nash for the Suns, Manu Ginobili for the Spurs, Kevin Garnett for the T-Wolves, and Paul Pierce for the Boston Celtics. Historic changes. This is the year that the Jazz will change their logo and no, I actually want that to happen. The Jazz will change their team branding, and the Sacramento Kings will change their team branding. So now they are going to look a little bit different. League meetings, not going to change any of that. And the draft lottery, let's see pretty much who's going to draft Ben Simmons. This is the year that the Celtics had a couple of high draft picks from the Nets, and then obviously their own. But in this reality, they were pretty doggone good. And oh my gosh. Oh, the Celtics get the first and second overall pick. So we'll have to see what they actually end up doing with that. The NBA draft is coming around. Let's see what happens. The NBA draft is a big time for a lot of these teams. They take Brandon Ingram number 1 overall. Imagine if they get Brandon Ingram and Jaylen Brown. There we go. They actually do draft same player they drafted originally. The 76ers still pick up Ben Simmons. That's not too surprising. Lakers grab Chris Dunn, who ended up being a bit of a bust, but still has had a solid NBA career. Jamal Murray going to play alongside Ben Simmons for the Sixers. Then, as the Kings have the 6th overall pick, they're going to take Karis LeVert, 7th overall pick. The Raptors pick up Dragon Bender. And then the Charlotte Hornets at number 8 are going to pick Domantas Sabonis. Number 9, the Wizards take on Pascal Siakam. And number 10 is Buddy Hield to the Minnesota Timberwolves. So we're going to go ahead and simulate to the end, and we'll just go quickly and look through where everybody else got selected. Do the Thunder get anybody? They do not. So this draft class actually has a lot of well-made guys, a lot of guys that aren't normally in these draft classes. I might have to, let me see, can I access this draft class? Yeah, I want to actually save this draft class because this is a pretty good one. So I'm gonna save this draft class and upload it because I don't know exactly which one it was, but they've got a lot of the guys that you wouldn't expect. So I'm gonna upload that. So if anybody wants to download that, you can find my username, my gamer tag BLaxMemes1, and that's my 2016 draft class, as you can see, because they've got a lot of the guys that you wouldn't expect: Deontay Davis, Paul Zipser, Demetrius Jackson, Jake Layman. I mean, man. A lot of these guys I would not expect to see in here, and obviously they don't usually appear for the 2K generated draft classes just because they don't have the what would I say, the rights to make those players. Let's see, did the Thunder get anybody? The Thunder did not have a single pick until the last pick in the draft. They pick up Anthony Gill. I don't think Anthony Gill is going to necessarily be the game changer for the Oklahoma City Thunders. We're now going to get into the free agency period here in year one. LeBron is looking like he wants to join Jamal Murray and the 76ers with Ben Simmons as well. Cavs tried their best to offer him some money, but it looks like LeBron wants to skip town. Anthony Davis is restricted. The Lakers want to get him early. The Bucks want to get him early. I imagine the Pelicans will match whatever they have. Any big name free agents for the Thunder? I don't think so. So we're just going to have to go ahead and see exactly where everybody goes. I'm going to go to the very end of the free agency period, the very last day available, and just to see where everybody signs. And we are now at day 11. Let's see, LeBron to Philly. That's interesting. AD goes back to New Orleans. James Harden to the Jazz. That would never happen in real life. Damian Lillard back to Portland once again, makes the move to try and get a championship in Portland. I don't think it's going to happen, Dame Doll. I'm sorry. Paul Gasol, that's crazy, returns to the Lakers. Dirk Nowitzki signs with the Pacers. I hate that. 38 years old, signs with Indiana. Andre Drummond returns to Detroit. Al Horford goes to the Lakers, so they get in two pretty big centers to play alongside of D'Angelo Russell and Julius Randle. DeMar DeRozan to the Nets. He actually ends up leaving Toronto without getting traded. Bradley Beal back to the Wizards. Chris Middleton stays with Milwaukee at 24 years old. Joe Johnson trying to do a last tour with the Atlanta Hawks. He comes back to Atlanta. Luol Deng to Boston. Any big signings for the Thunder? Let's see. The Thunder have not showed up just yet. They're not going to sign anybody. I guess they just didn't even sign a single player. Here we go. The Thunder sign Aaron Aflalo to come off the bench, I imagine. Actually, he could be a pretty good starter. He's got some good defense and some good shooting there beside Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook. And then they also signed Jeremy Lin as well. That's two pretty decent pickups. I wouldn't say they're great, but they're all right. They also pick up Charlie Villanueva. And anybody else? They sign Jeff Taylor. And that looks like it's going to be about it for the Thunder. They also brought in Johnny O'Brien, but those guys aren't really going to be exactly, doing much for this roster. Player progression for year two. Russell Westbrook goes up by 3. Durant drops by 2 for some reason at just 27 years old. Steven Adams up by 3. They re-sign him. Campaign up by 2. Anthony Morrow drops by 2. So now his starting spot is probably going to go to Aaron Aflalo or to Jeremy Lin. Kyle Singler drops by 3, and Jeff Taylor also drops by 3. A couple of guys that are on, what would it be, two-way contracts there, as we now are going to go into the next season, officially the 2016 season. This is the year where, Steph Curry and the Warriors with Kevin Durant would go and win the NBA championship against the Cavaliers. I'm going to use the 2017 draft class. Obviously, these ones will not be as in-depth because these ones going forward are going to be the 2K created draft classes. So, as you can see, we've already got an auto-generated guy pretty early on. But they've got most of the main names. Devon Reed is here. Zach Collins is here. You've got a couple other guys, OG Anunoby, Luke Cornett, a couple of guys at least that makes sense. And yeah, this is going to be the roster going into season 2. Let's see what they've got their starting lineup set as. Thunder have Westbrook, Aflalo. I like that Aaron Aflalo signing because he's a guy that has a very good three-point shot, 86 and 90 from mid-range. And he can play defense, right? Yeah, he's a solid defender. Not great, but I mean solid. And you've got KD, you've got Ibaka, and you've got Inez Kanter off the bench. You've got a solid lineup there as well. I'm going to look for the Thunder to make about the same record that they had last season, if not better. Because this team only got better and off to a good start until they lost that third game, but they're sitting now at 3-1. I'll catch you guys either at the end of the year or at the trade deadline. At the trade deadline here in the 2016 NBA season, the Thunder actually made a pretty big trade earlier in the year. I'll let you guys see that in 1 second. Here's all the other kind of smaller trades. Nothing too crazy. Josh Smith on the move to Milwaukee. Jared Dudley going to Indiana. Shane Larkin and a 17 second-round pick for Sean Livingston. So the Warriors get rid of Sean Livingston after he was a big part of their finals run in real life. Avery Bradley gets out of Boston, and Tyson Chandler ends up in Boston. J.R. Smith traded to the Warriors for Andrew Bogut. That one's an interesting one. But the Thunder actually made a big splash. Inez Cantor and Anthony Morrow for DeAndre Jordan and a 19 first round pick. So this is what their starting lineup's looking like right now. They've got Westbrook, Jeremy Lin, Kevin Durant, Serge Ibaka, Steven Adams. For whatever reason, DeAndre Jordan is injured right now, so he's not in the lineup. But you would have had DeAndre Jordan there. Off the bench, they have Steven Adams, Campaign, Aaron Aflalo, Andre Roberson, Norris Cole, Miles Plumlee. They've got a lot of good guys off the bench here. And this team is very talented. So I'm interested to see if this is the year that they can get over the hump. They're sitting at 43-15. Last year, obviously, they had this record pretty much at the end of the year, and Kevin Durant was gone. So that injury really hurt them. This year, they're ahead of the 8th seed by about 11 games, ahead of the Clippers by about 3 games. They're in the 2nd seed, ahead of the Trailblazers by 5, Golden State by 5.5, and the Jazz by about 6. We're going to have to see or keep an eye on these other teams and see how they perform going into the end of the year. But as of right now, it looks like the Thunder are on their way to another 1 seed and hopefully a chance at a NBA Finals without any major injuries happening to them. So the 2016 season, Steph Curry doesn't win MVP this time around. It's Damian Lillard averaging 30 points per game, almost 10 assists, and a steal and a half on 50, 83, and 40 shooting splits. Ben Simmons wins Rookie of the Year with 12.7 points per game, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, a steal, and about half a block. Shooting a solid 17% from 3. Jahlil Okafor wins 6th Man of the Year. I imagine he's backing up Nerlens Noel and Joel Embiid. He's averaging 16 and 6 and a block a game. DPOY goes to AD with 1 steal and 3 blocks. Big game there for big time stats. 2nd year guy, Karl Anthony Towns, wins Most Improved. Did he make a big leap? He must have, I would imagine, if he's winning Most Improved Player. Yeah, he jumped up. Not that much, 2 points per game pretty much, and about 4 rebounds per game. And then an extra block per game pretty much, and an extra steal per game. So, yeah, I mean, pretty decent stats for a guy like him. Coach of the Year goes to Scott Brooks, 61 and 21 again for the Thunder. Hopefully no injuries. We'll check that out in a second. Alex Hartman with the Blazers wins Executive of the Year. Damian Lillard, obviously, in his prime. Dame Dalla wins first guard on the All-NBA first team. We've got Jimmy Butler, LeBron, Blake Griffin still in his prime, AD. Second team, you've got John Wall, Westbrook, Paul George, Kevin Durant, and Boogie Cousins. And then the third team, you've got an injured Steph. Oh, man, his ankles and ankle injuries must have come back to haunt him. You've got an injured Steph. You've got a James Harden, who is still probably playing at an MVP level right now. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Kevin Love, and Andre Drummond there, who's injured for about 4 to 6 weeks now, as the Pistons may be good in this reality. Defensive teams, you got Butler, Wade, Paul George, Draymond, and Anthony Davis. Then you've also got Elfrid Payton, Chris Paul, Paul Millsap, Serge Ibaka, and Drummond. And here's the all-rookie teams if you would like to see the all-rookie teams there, as we are now, again, in the first 1-8 matchup. Let's see if the Thunder have the firepower this time. You got to imagine that they do. It looks like, is DeAndre Jordan hurt still? Oh, my gosh. They cannot get past these injuries. Steven Adams and DeAndre Jordan are hurt. That could be big because the Memphis Grizzlies have a very good center in Marc Gasol. So hopefully that does not come back to bite the Thunder. They go up 1-0. They go up 1-1 now. It's a tie series. Grizzlies take a 2-1 lead. Tie series again, 2-2. Thunder take a 3-2 lead, and they get out of there in 6. Thank the Lord. And now we've got the matchup that we've all been waiting for. The Clippers, Lob City Clippers, that should say, with Chris Paul, JJ Redick, Jay Crossover, Blake Griffin, and Inez Cantor. Would have been a rematch with DeAndre Jordan on the Thunder, but he is still injured, unfortunately, and so is Steven Adams. So overall wise, I would say that the Clippers have a slight advantage, but I think star power, the Thunder have a advantage over the Clippers. Still, though, they win by 11 in Game 1 in Oklahoma City Thunder. They go back to OKC. They beat them by about 9. That is not a good sign to lose both of your home games. Still, though, the Thunder come back. They make it a 2-1 series, winning by 12 here in the second round. Yes, they're They make it 2-2. So kind of reverse. The Clippers win both of the away games, and then the Thunder win both of the away games. The Thunder win 3 in a row, making it a game 6 elimination game as they win that one, and they are going to move on to the conference finals. So in real life, obviously this didn't happen. The Thunder lost pretty quickly in real life in the playoffs without KD. But in this reality, they make it to the conference finals to take on the Trailblazers, who pretty much have Damian Lillard, and that's about it. Ed Davis, maybe. CJ McCollum isn't all that great just yet. He's still got a few years before he becomes about an 85 overall. So the Thunder lose game 1. Don't lose to the Trailblazers. Lose by 2. The Trailblazers must have played good defense. The Thunder win game 2. They win that one by 15. So, I mean, that's a big thing there. Oh, man. The Trailblazers, though, they're not going away easy. Damian Lillard had 34 in that one. Everybody else didn't do much. 14 for CJ McCollum. In game 1, Damian Lillard had 23, and in game 2, he had 47. He is on a mission to get Portland a championship, and they are now up 3-1. So in real life, the Thunder had this scenario happen a year ago against the Warriors, and they blew it. Can they come back from a 3-1 deficit? Let's see how this game 5 goes out. The Trailblazers jump out to an early lead, but it's pretty tight here in the third quarter. End of the third, or about a minute and a half remaining. It is 90-86. The Thunder are up by 4, and we are now 1-point game with about 5 minutes remaining. 1 3-point game with about a minute remaining. And we're going to jump into this one. I do have to make sure that the commentary is off because I don't want to have to listen to them in my video, in the background of my video. Go ahead, turn the commentary off, turn down the PA volume. I'm gonna turn down the sound effects, all that stuff, crowd volume, player chatter, all that stuff can go down. And let's go ahead and see where we're at in this game. Kevin Durant in an elimination 3-1 game has 47. Westbrook has 22, 2 and 9 with 5 turnovers, though. Serge Ibaka with 11. Dame Dalla, obviously, I mean, man, 36 points. He's pretty much willing this team to win all by himself. CJ McCollum is the next highest with 12. And they are up by 3 now. 116-112. And the... I don't want to actually be playing. I'm going to go out of this. And the Trailblazers are going to be inbounding the ball from the sideline there as they get it to Al-Farouq Aminu, who's being guarded by Russell Westbrook. He's going to go to Mason Plumlee. I don't see any way how this does not go to Damian Lillard. Thomas with the fadeaway, and he hits it, so it's a 1-point ball game with about 47 seconds left for the Thunder. Kevin Durant now, he's got a Gatorade logo. He is tired, trying to extend the series. Durant drives, kicking it out. No, he's going to do a step back over the center, and it's good. Kevin Durant hits the mid-range jumper, and that one was not a good contest there by whoever that center is. I think that's an auto-generated guy. As we now see, they're going to go back to Thomas, who's guarded by Payne. Cam Payne's kind of small, be guarding him down low again. Does a good job, though, to keep him out of the paint, as they're going to have to reset this one. Not even Damian Lillard on the floor. Noah Vonleh. Thomas gets it again, drives. He's going to have to put up a shot. Final seconds of the shot clock up, and it is in. So now, with no fouls to give, down by 1, it's going to be a foul game here for the Trailblazers, as it is a 118-117 ball game. Let's just see how this goes. Steven Adams going to be inbounding it. Damian Lillard's back in the game. So is CJ McCollum, and they're going to go to Jeremy Lin, of all people. He's going to be the one that goes to the free throw line. Let's see if the Thunder have what it takes to come back from 3-1. It's a long road, but they need to start here. Jeremy Lin, it's the first one. He's got a chance to at least make it a 3-point ball game at the minimum, and or at the maximum, and he does just that. So the Trailblazers have 1 timeout left, and they had 2 timeouts left, and they call it. So now they're out of timeouts. As they were down by 3 with about 14 seconds left. 120-117. This would be a big win for the Thunder. You're back at home in this game, and you get a win in front of your home crowd. It makes it a whole lot easier to go away and get a win with that momentum, as we can now see Damian Lillard being guarded by Westbrook, the star matchup we've all been waiting for. Ed Davis is going to inbound it. He's going to try and get it to Lillard. Instead, they have to go to CJ McCollum, who's a little banged up. McCollum gets a screen from Davis, goes down low. Davis back out to Aminu for 3, and the tie, and it's no good. That'll just about do it. As you can see, they foul Jeremy Lin, and the Thunder win this one by 2. That was a crazy ending there of that game 5, and that one I actually get some VC from. So now they are tied or down 3-2. So it's a long road still. But they did what they had to do in game 5. Let's see if they can do it in game 6. They're up early in this one. They've got a pretty good lead, about a 13-point lead early in this third quarter. And that lead is built to 14 in the fourth. And the Thunder are going to extend this series to game 7. Kevin Durant drops 38. Westbrook had 25, and Steven Adams had 11 rebounds, or 11 points there, as they extended to game 7. It is a 3-3 series, and the Thunder have been eliminated. I didn't mean to do that, but after all that, game 7, the Trailblazers win 123-117. Damian Lillard had 36. CJ McCollum had 35 and 9. As they now will take on the 76ers, and Damian Lillard gets his first Finals MVP and his first NBA championship, as he averaged 32 points, 5 rebounds, 10 assists, and a steal. Basically 1.5 steals and 1 block, shooting 50, 84, and 45 from the field. So the Thunder came really close. So you would have wished to have your healthy centers. They didn't have Steven Adams. They didn't have DeAndre Jordan for that playoff run, but now they're going into the last year of the contracts for Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook. So it's going to be interesting to see what they decide to do with those guys, or what they decide to do as far as re-signing them, as a bunch of guys end up retiring. Hall of Fame inductees is going to be Tim Duncan finally calling it quits. He will get his jersey retired. Now we've got a bunch of different branding things. Yeah, here's a bunch of teams change their branding this year. As you can see, changed the timeout there. The timeout system was changed in this offseason as well in real life. Now we're going to head into the NBA draft. The 2017 NBA draft features a few really high-profile prospects. Alonzo Ball was very, very sought after. The Mavericks are going to pick him up after losing Dirk Nowitzki. Hopefully, they're hoping he can become the next big thing. And the Phoenix Suns, who won the championship really early a few years ago, pick up Jason Tatum at number 3. The Nuggets grab Lauri Markkanen, and I like that selection for the Nuggets. The Boston Celtics are going to pick up Donovan Mitchell. They don't get Tatum this time, but they get Donovan Mitchell, so they still get stuck with a really good guy. And the Lakers at number 5 are going to trade it away. In return, they get Jay Crowder and Luol Deng. That's an interesting one because the Lakers haven't really been all that competitive, so I don't really understand trading away picks in order to get veteran guys. Here's the rest of that first round. Did the Thunder have a pick? They had a late first round pick. They used it on Devon Reed, so at least it's a real guy. But he's a good 3-point shooter. Can he defend? I mean, he's okay. I mean, he's not terrible. And then they also should probably have a second round pick. They did, and who'd they select? They ended up getting OG Anunoby with the second round pick, the 17th pick in the second round. I think that's a pretty good late selection. OG is, for some reason, like the worst 3-point shooter in the entire draft. But I do suggest that they sign OG Anunoby. And now we'll go ahead and go into the free agency period. See if there's any big moves, big names. LaMarcus Aldridge, obviously, he is probably going to return back to the Spurs. Dwayne Wade, this was the year, I believe, that he ended up signing with the Bulls, I think. And then he played with the Cavs a little bit later on. Dwight Howard is probably going to go back to Houston. Giannis, we already know where he is. But, yeah, he's got 6 offers, but he's a restricted free agent. So I wouldn't expect him to go anywhere, really, because, you know, they would be dumb not to match any contract that they give. And the Thunder are signing a couple of guys. They signed Nene. They signed Tony Allen. Let's see who else they signed throughout this offseason. They signed Anderson Varejao. And we're going to go. They signed Robert Covington. I like that pickup for the Thunder. And they signed a two-way guy there. And let's see where everybody ended up going. Aldridge doesn't go back to San Antonio, so they lose out on Tim Duncan, who retires, and they also lose Marcus Aldridge, who ends up with the Mavericks. He's going to be playing alongside Um, a few other guys that they've drafted. Dwayne Wade returns to Miami. Dwight Howard goes back to Houston. Victor Oladipo back to Orlando. Pretty much everybody stays where they were at for the most part. Rudy Gay to the Nets. That's a new one. Paul Millsap to the Spurs. Zach Randolph to the Grizzlies. Dirk Nowitzki to the Timberwolves. Anybody big? Michael Carter Williams stays with Milwaukee. The Thunder didn't really have any major pickups. You can pause it if you want to see everybody. They do grab Luke Babbitt there at the end of free agency. Player progression is going to be pretty big this year. They've got Westbrook down by 1. Campaign goes up by 2, so he's going to be a really good backup point guard, better than Jeremy Lin, who is now down a lot. This team has gotten older. DeAndre Jordan, who will probably, hopefully, come back healthy, I imagine, this next season. But, ruptured Achilles can be an injury that lingers with a player, especially, an older or a bigger guy like DeAndre Jordan. So we'll have to see how he performs. But let's go ahead and see what this lineup's looking like. They have Russell Westbrook, Tony Allen. I like that pickup still. He's not the greatest shooter. I really like when they had Aaron Aflalo in there more than Tony Allen, but he has defense, which is what Kevin Durant and Westbrook definitely could use help with. Then you've got Ibaka, you've got Anderson Varejao, and DeAndre Jordan is still injured. That is crazy. He has been injured for about a season and a half now. They didn't bring Steven Adams back, so they're pretty much just out of luck. If Anderson Varejao gets injured, Nene is going to be their backup center. So we'll have to see how this team does going forward, but I don't think this team's going to be nearly as good as last year's team. So the 2017 season ends. James Harden winning the MVP, averaging 27.5 points per game, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, almost 50, 40, 90 on the season as well. Markelle Fultz wins Rookie of the Year. The 76ers wish he would have done that in real life. Unfortunately, he had shoulder issues, messed with him all kinds of ways his rookie year. Dennis Schroeder, once again, 6th Man of the Year, backing up Jeff Teague. Karl Anthony Towns wins DPOY. Never thought I would have seen that. 1 steal and about 3 blocks a game. Brandon Ingram wins Most Improved Player of the Year. He went an average 17, almost 18 points a game. Let's see what he averaged last year. See how high up he jumped. So, yeah, he went up about almost 5 points per game. So, that's pretty impressive. And a lot more rebounds as well. So, he definitely deserved that. Coach of the Year goes to Scott Skiles with the Utah Jazz. Ryan Johnson goes Executive of the Year. James Harden must have led the Jazz to a very good season, as here is the All-NBA first team, All-NBA second team, Kemba Walker, John Wall, LeBron, Blake Griffin. Then the third team is here. No Westbrook on any of those, so that kind of makes me worry that he's injured. But we'll have to see exactly what's going on with this team. Let's make sure no major injuries. Nope. And the Thunder did actually make a pretty big trade about halfway through the season. Let me see if that I can find it. Yep, here we go. They traded away Aaron Aflalo for Frank Kaminsky earlier in the year, just I think to get some center depth. But then they traded away just a straight up center swap. DeAndre Jordan and Anderson Varejao for Al Horford and JaVale McGee. So they wanted to get a bit of a stretch 5 going on more. So now their starting lineup's looking like this. You've got Westbrook, you've got Tony Allen, AD, Ibaka, Al Horford, Campaign. Then you've got off the bench with Campaign, you've got Kaminsky, Nene, Jeremy Lin, and then you've got JaVale McGee, Etuan Moore, Devon Reed, the rookie who hasn't done much, and then OG Anunoby, another rookie who hasn't done much, who also has the worst 3-point shot I've ever seen of any player, and apparently can't play defense. So that's interesting. But despite the team overall looking better, in my opinion, they finished a lot worse. They finished 16 games back of the 1 seed. They're the 5 seed, 49 and 33. And here we go. They're taking on the Timberwolves, who are very good right now. They've got Zach LaVine, who started to really come on the scene. Then they've still got Buddy Hield, an elite 3-point guy. Andrew Wiggins, Karl Anthony Towns, who's won DPOY. Dirk Nowitzki is here for some reason. I guess he's trying to get one more championship. So they lose game 1, 114 to 103. They go down 2-0, don't go down 3-0. And are they going to go from the Western Conference Finals to getting swept in the first round? It looks like they won't. They'll get 1 game, and they'll probably lose after that. Yeah, man, the Thunder just do not have what it takes to win a championship with Kevin Durant or without Kevin Durant, it seems like. Timberwolves, thankfully, though, that makes you feel a little bit better. They go on to win a championship this year, Finals MVP. goes to Karl Anthony Towns, and Dirk gets his second ring right before he retires, I imagine. Yep, Kobe Bryant and Dirk call it quits. A bunch of guys, a bunch of veterans retiring now. Guys like Jarrett Jack, Deron Williams, Aaron Brooks is here as well. Staff retirements, a bunch of guys here there that have been around. Hall of Fame, as expected, Dirk and Kobe Bryant jersey retirements. The Suns actually retire Amari Stoudemire, Kobe Bryant, and Dirk Nowitzki as well, though. Historic changes. Anybody else? Yeah, a few teams are going to change their branding again. All-star captains will now choose the drafted. Those are a few of the things that we saw. Draft lottery. As we're going to go through basically one more year. We're going to go through one more season, I should say. And we're going to see just how this Thunder team performs. But first, they've got to bring back Westbrook and Kevin Durant. Both of those guys have player options. The Rockets get Luka this year. Paul Pierce Jr. is here for some reason, even though his dad just retired technically. And he doesn't actually exist. Jaren Jackson Jr. is here. DeAndre Ayton, Trae Young, Marvin Bagley III, Francis Rivers, a bunch of auto-generated guys. Did the Thunder get anybody good? They were not. It did not have a first-round pick. They got. I thought I was going to say Blake Griffin. He's way retired. They did get Dante DiVincenzo in the second round, and that was no. They had a second-round pick where they were able to get Theo Pinson. So they get a couple of second-round guys. I say they bring in Dante DiVincenzo and Theo Pinson. But let's see what happens with these player options. I believe they should have the Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook both on player options. And no, they both actually must have re-signed contracts. Let's see. Westbrook signed for 4 more years and Kevin Durant signed for 3 more years. So this team has their core together. They're just looking to get, I guess you could say, for everybody to get going or everybody to develop a little bit more. As we're going to stop right there. Let's see where everybody signs. The Nuggets grab Boogie. Joel Embiid stays with Philly. Chris Middleton goes to the Pacers. Wiggins goes back to the Timberwolves after winning a championship. Paul Gasol stays with the Lakers at 38 years old. Brook Lopez stays with the Nets. He has not swapped any in this reality. Marcus Smart stays with the Celtics. Any other big names? The Thunder do grab Will Barton, so they finally get a guy that can shoot at an elite level and can play defense at an elite level beside Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook. So I really like that pickup. Any other big names for the Thunder? That might have been their only signing. They got Trevor Booker, who I believe was on the Thunder at some point in real life. So that's a pretty realistic signing. And they also were able to bring in John Lure, a guy who in real life could shoot, according to this roster. Maybe not so much. Let's see if any of their players will develop. Everybody stays the same. Campaign goes up 1. Devon Reed goes up 1. Yeah, not much else going on for them. Yeah, this team's pretty much just going to be the exact same. We're going to go to the end of the season, see how they perform. Hopefully, with Kevin Durant and Westbrook tied up, there's nothing like, no reason to worry about them leaving this offseason, so they can just go out there. They can hoop, and they can hopefully win a championship this year. That would be a really big milestone for them. Well, unfortunately, simulation will have to end here. The Thunder didn't get a championship even with re-signing Kevin Durant. He actually, honestly, played a little disappointing. He regressed, and I mean, he was averaging good numbers, but he still just wasn't the Kevin Durant I would have expected. Westbrook obviously played really well as well. But for whatever reason, this save file, anytime I try to advance to the next season, it crashes the game completely. So we'll have to end this what-if scenario here. So the Thunder resolved, if they had signed Kevin Durant back, no, they wouldn't have won a championship. They would have went to the conference finals a couple times, gotten to a deep playoff run, and just not been able to get quite over the hump. But it would still probably have been a whole lot more fun than watching Westbrook and those Thunder teams struggle to get into the playoffs. But at the end of the day, neither of those teams won a championship, so that's all that matters anyways. As always, though, if you guys have any other what-if scenarios you'd like to see me simulate through, as always, comment down below any suggestions you do have. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you never miss an upload. You can stay up to date on my series that I'm running right now or any other videos that I upload. Thank you all for watching this one. I'll catch you next time.